evening, Papua New Guinea, and welcome to another episode of Business PNG. Betelnut traders in Lae City are making close to 20,000 kina per day in the informal sector trade. But the green gold trade is in jeopardy. Diseases have infected betelnut trees in some parts of the Madang and Morobe Province. Bethanie Harriman reports from Lae.
It's another hectic day at the office for these boy traders. Prices are argued over and cash is spent out in the open. The sun is hot, but money has to be made from boy bags from as far as the East Sepik Province. Bumbu Market is a trade center and the negotiating is very intense. The money being made is astonishing. On average, people make over 10,000 kina per day. But the trade is in danger. Diseases have killed trees in Madang and parts of the Morobe Province.
Maximum 20 bag, so misarim first price and 350 and second and 340.
If the disease-causing bug is not managed well by authorities, it could put an end to the lucrative trade. At the Bumbu Market, the trade is intense. Those taking part in the business know what's at stake. Coastal people have been dependent on buai for income for many years.
300 kina, 400 kina lo. Wamla bege, so mi baim. So no wamla boy, no boy le, mi can no money le sa boy.
They know that if the trees were to stop producing, they will suffer. The boy trade is in the informal sector and it involves a lot of money. Because of its high demand, the cash is spread throughout all demography. And with the current state of the economy, it does provide opportunities for those who don't have jobs. The cash flow involved in the trade is somewhere in the millions of kina, and it does become a source of income for families and those that are unemployed. A family house at Lae's 5th Street, outside the front yard, a family is selling buai on its stall. They make roughly 1,000 kina per day. Some of it goes to replenishing stock and the rest is their profit. They are fully involved in the buai trade because customers spend over 10 kina every day on the nut.
Bro, how much you can spend in the buai long per day? 10 kina and about 10 kina long one per day.
Live lo mibla no what well pineapple points. So mibla salim boy smoke. Now I'm mibla section 1 kina 2 kina now I'm mibla save up now. One per day mibla kege na sleep.
The mother of the house isn't concerned about going back to work. She has resigned to sell buai full time.
Last time you work morning and now you sit on the buai market. You making more money or?
Yes. Say more money, lol, fortnight.
Fortnight, yeah, wasting time.
But there is concern for the trade. People are aware of the buai disease that has killed trees in parts of the Morobe and Madang province. They are calling on authorities to manage the problem.
Some like him nari or DIL oligan go na luglo. This level binatan sa affecting more buai.
Welcome back to Business PNG. In this segment, we look at how employees have contributed to the success of the business industry. We feature Peter Pokowas, who is the longest-serving employee for the national flag carrier Air Niugini. Mr. Pokowas has clocked 40 years with Air Niugini after he joined the airline company in 1976. Business PNG correspondent Fabian Hakalits visited Mr. Pokowas in Kavieng and brings us this segment.
Honest, loyalty, and committed.
His name is Peter Pokowas.
From Drano in Manus Province, a character of his own, yet simple, humble, cheerful, and also funny. Peter's history in the aviation industry wace back to 1973 with Ansett Australia and Trans-Australia Airlines, TAA, straight after his formal education at Mongop High School in New Island Province.
Because I was at home, desperately, I was looking for a job. So I went and joined in 1973. At the beginning of 1973, working with short time with Ansett and TAA. Before it was Air Niugini took over in 1973, and it was decided that Manus, Buka, Kavieng, Hoskins has to be run by agency, whilst the other bigger port were managed by Air Niugini. I was then started with local government council in Manus.
In Air Niugini's history books, Peter Pokowas is the longest serving employee since day one of his employment in 1976. He started as a traffic officer with the Flight Operations Department and later worked in other departments like cargo. He also held some managerial positions: Madang, Port Moresby, Hoskins, Wewak, Lae, Papaneta, Alutau, Vanimodlihir, Moro and Bulolo. Having worked under some difficult circumstances, Peter became a lifesaver, bringing the company forward in his 40 years of service.
91, I went to Lae. Because of South Pacific Game, they have to recall me to Lae to coordinate South Pacific Game, the movement of the participants from Lae and Moresby. When Wewak was also having a problem with law and order, so-called Kawi Bagarap, nobody wants to go there. They have to send me there as a manager there. Also, when they said Oro for Oro, nobody wants to go there. I have to be a manager there. I have to be posted there. In every port that is either not making money or to make money, or a port that has got a law and order problem where staff do not want to take.
Peter has seen the national airline grow from strength to strength. Different government of the day, airlines management and board, aircraft fleet, and the list continues.
Transport Minister at that time is Mr. Cook. And he was not so happy because those aircraft can only operated in main ports and not the Highlands region. And that's why he went in to negotiate for this 7 so that it can operate in the Highlands to give service to Highlands. He thinks that it's unfair because it's called Air Niugini, but he only serves certain parts, not all the areas. That's why he negotiated this DES 7 to come in.
Peter Pokowas also shares with us some funny stories that occurred during his employment.
CEO one weekend took a trip to engineering department and caught about 3 engineers that they were chewing betelnut. So they got suspended on the spot. On his way from engineering, he drove to cargo. And when he came in, I was chewing betelnut right outside the gate. And I told all the other cargo staff to go. So he came in and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Chewing betelnut." "You're not supposed to chew betelnut." I said, "Yes, I know, but this is my break time, so I'm chewing betelnut. So no, you're not allowed. So he took my name, my staff number, and he said, I have to, by Monday, you will hear from us. I said, fine. But before he left, I also saw him that he was not in a safety gears coming down to airport. So I asked him, did you read the notice over there? He said, which notice? Civil aviation notice. As it is, you are not safe coming to the operational area. You have no vest on. Also your food. So if that rule applies to us and not you, then there's something wrong. So what do you think about you coming to this operational area unsafe with no PPE as safety requirements? But he left, and I was hoping that I was going to be suspended like other engineers, but nothing happened till he left. And I was still working till my finishing time.
Pokowas has thanked Air Niugini for providing for him and his family since day one of his employment.
On behalf of my family and myself, I'd like to thank Air Niugini as a company that has looked after me for 40 years. It has, as I've mentioned earlier, it sheltered me and the family, feed me, and clothed me. And being on a steady payroll with the company, it's a very big help to me, particularly to put my kids to school, and they all succeeded in their schooling.
What Pokowas wants to see is for the national airline to be PNG oriented and move forward, and not to enjoy what was once a monopoly business, because the airline industry has emerged.
Move forward, that's what they say. And, create job opportunities to young people coming in.
Peter Pokowas is enjoying his time with his family, wife Betty, children and grandchildren at Panapai in New Island Province.
And now on to some news bites. The opposition stormed out of the Parliament chamber last week after a heated debate erupted between the opposition and the government over the appropriation bill as cited by the Minister of Treasury, Patrick Pruich. In a media conference later, the opposition said it would challenge the government in the Supreme Court over what it described as a fraudulent and misleading budget.
The opposition claimed that the appropriation figure as signed by the First Legislative Council read as 21 billion kina and did not correspond with the Treasurer's speech, cited to be 12.9 billion. The opposition, led by Don Pollier, walked out of the chamber in protest after a proposition made by the Vanimo Green MP Belden Nama to adjourn the passing of the budget to 10 a.m. today was declined. In a media conference later, Pollier announced the opposition's intentions to challenge the matter in the Supreme Court.
On behalf of the people of this nation, people of this country, that Bamiblai challenge him. This bill, we only pass him today, long government, long floor of parliament, long court, long stop him. Government must knock and implement him this budget. Now government must correct him this budget long next parliament or in earlier parliament session before we go long election.
He also called on the Prime Minister and MPs at the forefront of the budget compilation to resign voluntarily.
Also, this let me fraud and deception belong Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, one time treasurer, one time government belong him.
Nama called on the fraud squad to make immediate arrests for what the opposition described as a blatant error.
On the fraud squad to immediately arrest Diary Valley, the Secretary for Treasury, Secretary for Finance and Secretary for Planning.
Former Attorney General Kavieng Akua condemned the bill void and misleading.
There was no bill. The speeches read and the motion put forward was about something else, and what they circulated to be the bill was something else. So to that extent, that bill is not a bill, therefore we had no bill on the floor.
A memorandum of understanding was signed recently between the Coffee Industry Corporation and Gulf Governor Havila Kavo. The signing of the MOU creates a partnership between the CIC and Gulf Provincial Government, who will work together to bring innovative and sustainable projects to help rural coffee farmers in Kaintiba.
Kaintiba is a place in Papua New Guinea known for its high production of organically grown coffee. Over the years, farmers around the area have been challenged with transportation and access to proper markets. Today, transportation and access to proper markets still remain struggles for many farmers. The signing of the MOU today will create the pathway for CIC to facilitate and help deliver necessary facilities to boost coffee production in Kaintiba. CEO of Coffee Industry Corporation, Mr. Charles Dambui, thanked Governor Kavo for taking the initiative, saying this partnership will bring sustainable outcomes for many coffee farmers in Kaintiba.
A very big thank you to the governor and his team of staff, especially the provincial administration, for initiating this project. Like the governor said, Gulf Province is one of the new growth areas that coffee industry is targeting at the moment. We realize that there is a very big potential for coffee that is coming out from remote parts of the province, and Kaintiba is no exception to that. Over the years, we have actually got some very good coffee out from Kaintiba. And like the governor said, one of the problems that the coffee industry encountered, or the coffee growers encountered, is the discount in prices.
An initial amount of 1 million kina has been allocated by Gulf Provincial Government to develop a rehabilitation program in Kaintiba and Koitanga. Gulf is the third to sign the MOU.
Thank you.
U.S. Ambassador at Large for Global Women's Issues, Catherine Russell, recently visited the Women's Trade Center in the drive to address the issues faced by women in Papua New Guinea. Russell leads the U.S. Secretary's Office of Global Women's Issues efforts to advance gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls around the world.
Ambassador Russell, accompanied by the U.S. Ambassador to PNG, Catherine Ebert Gray, and her entourage, and founder of Host Women in Business, Janet Sape, took the time to marvel at the local handiwork before addressing the women. In her address, she drove home the importance of women's participation in any nation's development.
And we all need to support each other, and we need to make it possible for women to go far if we really want countries to do well.
She took quite an interest in the message behind the Women in Business logo.
There's an African saying that it popped into my mind as I was watching you, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone, and if you want to go far, go together. And I think that really, I was struck by that and when you were describing what your logo means.
In her role, Ambassador Russell also addresses gender-based violence, investing in adolescent girls, and integrating women's issues into U.S. foreign policy.
And ultimately, President Obama says all the time that countries will never succeed unless the women in those countries succeed. So,
a resource hub for women was opened yesterday in Port Moresby, a joint initiative of the United States and Australian governments. The Women's Business and Resource Centre will ensure that women have access to information that supports the development, growth and sustainability of their enterprises.
The opening of the Women's Business and Resource Center is a significant milestone for women in the country. Women have been encouraged to use the facility to support the development, growth and sustainability of their enterprises to be active participants in the country's formal economy. Representing the Australian government, Ambassador for Women and Girls Natasha Stott-Despoja said female entrepreneurs need to acquire business knowledge to overcome challenges.
It's about creating a space where women with clever business ideas can find mentoring, access to technology, to help them start up these businesses.
U.S. Ambassador at Large for Global Women's Issues Catherine Russell said women entrepreneurs continue to face difficulty in accessing startup capital, and they also struggle to join the formal economy.
And that's why, in addition to launching this center, the United States is partnering with Australia to incorporate entrepreneurship into university curricula. And we are funding the We Create Challenge, as you heard. Separately, the United States is providing $300,000 in technical assistance to the PNG Women's Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which I think hopefully will be very helpful to the chamber. And today we're excited to announce that the United States is offering an additional $100,000 in small grants to help women from all over the country. We're excited to partner.
A joint initiative of the U.S. and Australian governments, the Women's Business and Resource Center will be managed by the Center for International Enterprise, or CIPE, which is part of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. It cost $1.7 million Australian dollars to set up the Resource Center and is the first of such collaboration between the Australian and U.S. governments under supporting women entrepreneurs.
The Brian Bell Group of companies opened a new mall in Lae City 3 years after a fire destroyed the previous building. Yesterday, Morobe Governor Kelly Naru and other dignitaries officially opened the building, marking the start of trading. This is one of several investments in Lae City as the country goes through tough economic times.
The new building boasts bigger and better services for the lay public. Several businesses are housed in the new building. Earlier today, the final touches were being made to the interior as staff prepared for the opening tonight. In 2014, the block of old buildings, which also included Brian Bell, burnt down in spectacular fashion, a fire that drew looters from all corners of the city. Now the company is in recovery as it works to re-establish itself. This is one of several important local investments by various businesses in the last 6 years. Next week, another major Port Moresby-based company will also open a branch in Lae.
And that's all from us tonight. For more business news, or if you would like to view this episode again, visit MTV online at the URL at the bottom of the screen. Or for up-to-the-minute business news and updates, like our page on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at Business PNG. Until next week, have a pleasant evening. I'm Leanne Girari, and this was Business PNG.